Motley News, here to talk to you today about menstruation, being on the rag, having your period. We're going to be talking about period culture, shame, mythology, and different ways that we all can deal with this very normal human function. It's very normal. If you're the kind of person that gets a little squeamish by human functions, human bodily functions and fluids and whatnot, this video is for you. And for the rest of you who are already cool with your periods, hopefully this is a source of validation. Like, what happens with my body is not crazy. It is right on schedule. Okay? Before I get into all that, it's always very fun to go over these really ridiculous, absurd period myths. They're usually from way back when, old wives' tales, if you will, that have a lot to do with women being very dirty during their period. One, my favorite, don't go swimming in the ocean or go camping in the woods because a shark or bear will definitely eat you. Not true. I think it's been put to the test, and sharks and bears are definitely not interested in period blood. Just not. Don't touch fresh flowers while you're on your period. They will wilt and die. I think this is another one of those myths that come from unclean women. Apparently, people were saying at one point in time that women on their periods shouldn't be canning fruits or shouldn't be making tomato sauces. Again, there's no valid evidence for any of that stuff. Women can touch whatever they please. Nothing in the natural world is going to wither and die under a menstruating woman's touch. I've also read you shouldn't go swimming for other reasons, not because of sharks, but because I guess you'll cramp up and die, or your tampon will absorb all the water and sink you. That sounds crazy enough for me not to have to explain it to you. Don't bathe. Again, why the aversion to water? You should bathe. You should bathe like a normal human being if you have access to clean water and soap. Sure, bathe. Continue doing that. You shouldn't eat cold foods, or that will make your cramping even worse. No evidence of that. Go ahead and keep eating ice cream. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Another one that I read was don't exercise, don't do yoga. Well, actually, exercise can help cramps. Your uterus is like a huge ball of tension. If you stretch, if you work out, I mean, in moderation, it actually can alleviate some of that pain and achiness. So there's a whole lot of misinformation going on with periods. Why is that? Because the patriarchy. You don't have to look much farther than the patriarchy. If men cannot understand the strange, mystifying powers of a bleeding woman, they are instantly afraid and make up a whole bunch of crazy rules to put us in our place, to make us feel shamed by it. It's no wonder, with all of that strange mythology in place, we are still trying to hide the fact that half of the Earth's population bleeds monthly. It's so prevalent in the way we hide it and the way we're ashamed of it that the word period was not said on television until 1985 by actress Courtney Cox. Granted, it was for a Tampax tampon commercial. I don't see any way that you can really get around it, but we had been getting around it for quite a few years, and it took that one commercial in 85 to wake people up and say, hey, this is normal. This is what we do. Not too long ago, earlier this year, a sister duo named Rupi and Prabh Kaur released a photo series on Instagram. It was basically called Period, and it was about being on your period. The shots were interesting. I thought they were really fascinating. But Instagram pulled them. They banned the photos because, quote, it violated the community guidelines. And the community guidelines were basically no sexual acts, no nudity, and no violence. The women were fully clothed. In fact, it was just period blood stains. One picture in particular was a young woman in bed. The back of her pants had been stained, and the sheet on her bed was stained as well. We've all dealt with that. It's called buy yourself overnight extra long maxi pads. It happens. But in pulling her photo like that, Instagram basically proved her point. We're so frightened of the inner workings of a female body that we will totally banish the thought from our minds. There's also this idea that we should hide what we're doing at every turn in our period week. If yours lasts for a week, we carry around these little pouches. This is for my money. But inside them are our period contrabands. This is a pad. This is a cup. We tote them around in this little bag so we can hide the fact that we're going to the public restroom to change out our pads. Some girls even get anxious by the idea of their packaging rattling too loud as an indicator that they are changing their pads or their cups or their tampons. Well, guess what? You're in a public restroom with a lot of other women who know what you're doing, and it's cool because they have to go through it as well. One company in particular that I think is doing probably a good job of celebrating the period and making it feel like a fun experience is Period Store, periodstore.com. This is perhaps the ultimate monthly subscription service. If you time it just right, you'll get a box every month coinciding with your period, which is, usually right as rain. In your box that shows up on your doorstep are your period products that you would normally use, be it tampons, pads, sponges, cups, all of that. Also chocolate and tea and little packets of medication, I guess Pamprin or Midol or something, and a cute little artistic note that I'm sure says, hang in there, you're doing fine. Anyway, that is something probably to look forward to. Everybody likes receiving gifts in the mail. Another company that's still in its startup phase, you can find their campaign on Indiegogo. It's called Conscious Period. And basically this is a dual giving model. You've seen that done in Tom's Shoes, where you buy a pair of shoes and a child in a developing country will get a pair of shoes. Well, this is the same thing. If you buy a package of their organic cotton tampons, they will give a package of organic cotton maxi pads to a woman in need in the US, which is a brilliant thing considering tampons and other feminine products are not free. They should be free. At the very least, they should not be taxed. But women do find themselves in the hard position of not being able to pay for these things, something that we need every month for the rest of our, reproductive years. It's insane. So this company is actually taking it upon themselves to be that person, that entity that helps these women out. And you'd be helping them out too if you bought from this particular company. So I don't know. These are things that make the word period not so awful. It brings it into the public consciousness, which definitely needs to happen. If half of your population is going through this and is feeling shamed for it, you know, we should all be aware of it and we should all be talking about it. So, go forth, crinkle your packages, carry them out in the open, let everybody know I'm on my period and I am proud of it, or I don't feel like dealing with your bullshit. It goes both ways, really. Let this become something that we talk about for the sake of children who are growing up to become young men and women. Girls should not feel ashamed of their bodies, and boys should be educated enough to know that this is what women go through. Let me not act like an asshole about it. Simple as that. If you guys have any questions or concerns about period-related things, please hit me up in the comment box, and I will give you more information on what I talked about today in the description box. But until then, happy periods, happy bleeding, Aunt Flo's in town, I'm on the rag, whatever you use to say that you are, I guess, indisposed this month. Have a happy time with that, and don't feel ashamed. All right? Bye.